So, in my last SpongeBob review, we talked about what is, in my opinion, the worst episode of the show, and also how it was from the infamous Season 6. We already know, especially from YouTuber Pie Guy Rules, that it's a
SpongeBob season.
But in that season, which has many episodes that range from mediocre to terrible, there's one outlier. An outlier that feels like it really shouldn't even be in this season. An episode in Season 6 that is actually packed with comedy and doesn't even feel like it's even in the season's element. That episode is actually not Sandcastles in the Sand. It's this episode, the Slumber Party. This is one of those episodes that I would describe as genuinely funny from start to finish. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not even trying to hide the fact that I love this episode. I'll try and be less predictable on my opinions of episodes from here on out. We'll give you a little bit of a surprise review next time. But now, let's get into this near-perfect episode, especially for one of the darkest points in this show. The episode begins with a welcoming entrance from Pearl. What I like here is this isn't the usual 2 to 3 minutes of generic filler. The banter here is perfectly paced and also freaking hilarious. There are actually literally about 5 to 10 funny moments I counted in this 1 minute alone. And no, I'm not even joking. A Season 6 episode did that. Examples of such are as follows.
And you're laying around! Then you're tiny no longer whiteys. If you trusted me, you would leave for the night.
You make corn grinds come out me nose. A man works hard all week to keep his pants off all weekend. Here, would your friends like some pizza?
Well, yeah, we would. Ketchup!
See, you put it on the crackers, and mamma mia, you got a spicy pizza pie.
So the bulk of the jokes in this scene are a bunch of Mr. Krabs' cheap jokes. Sometimes the execution is a bit hit or miss, but here it is absolutely perfect. The jokes are unique, they're clever, and absolutely hilarious. The writers just struck gold here, and thankfully the humor doesn't end, so let's get into the rest of this episode. So yeah, next Pearl believes her friends are here for the slumber party because she hears a knock at the door, but instead...
Hi!
It's just the legend himself, Mr. Krabs, setting up the house rules. And then Pearl has that incredible jab about Mr. Krabs taking away her allowance when she throws the crackers with ketchup on them at Mr. Krabs. Like, the irony and timing of that joke is just flawless. I really enjoy it. Now that Mr. Krabs is secluded from his house, he resorts to having to stay over at SpongeBob's for a night, which results in another admittedly pretty fantastic gag.
Maybe I should just sleep under the highway.
SpongeBob and Krabs then begin to discuss the night's agenda when SpongeBob says that girls don't do the things they're going to do at their slumber party because they invite boys over instead and destroy the house. But just how much does SpongeBob know about girls?
SpongeBob, do you know anything about girls?
Do I know anything? No.
But Gary does, so he turns on a hilarious movie about teenage boys literally going inside girls' houses to destroy their father's possessions.
Destroying other people's possessions is fun!
And the final nail in the coffin is this.
Oh! Turn it off! Turn it off! I can't take it!
And I even love how SpongeBob acknowledges that that isn't even the scary part of the movie. Like, it's just a flawless gag. After seeing this movie, Mr. Krabs is now very worried what might be going on at the slumber party at Pearl's, aka his house. This leads to explaining to SpongeBob what might be happening by ironically destroying his house.
Oh, look! One of the homeowner's most prized possessions! La-dee-da!
Shortly after, Mr. Krabs devises a scheme to get SpongeBob into Pearl's party so he can find out what they're doing. Firstly, they do this.
Hi, I'm here for the slumber party. My name is, Girly Teen Girl. I just moved here from, far awayville.
And the irony here is executed to perfection. How you think it's SpongeBob in the disguise because of how phony and cliche Girly Teen Girl is, and that she's saying that she's from the absolutely nondescript, generically named town of Farawayville, when in actuality she is real.
I am so moving back to Farawayville.
Who the heck is that?
I don't know, but she is ugly.
Also, SpongeBob saying Girly was ugly was actually a really hilarious joke too. The irony, of course, being that Girly looks exactly like SpongeBob. In reality, SpongeBob uses a comedically weak way to fool Pearl. He brings up pizza to her, and Thankfully, Mr. Krabs being cheap helps here because it helps create this awesome line.
I'd sooner believe space aliens sent me a free pizza before I believe my dad would.
The mustache flies off SpongeBob Frankendoodle style, and Pearl stuffs him in the pizza box. SpongeBob comes back to Mr. Krabs, and they even throw in a joke referencing the pizza chain Domino's by saying that he should have been back in 30 minutes or less. Not often we get to see humor in this show make a real-world connection like that, so I gotta say, thumbs up for that. I mean, it's not really the most hilarious joke in the episode, but I mean, it's just a cool little nod. Next, he tries being a piano repairman. Instead of coming to the door, though, they just drop it on his head. This prompts SpongeBob to suggest that Mr. Krabs just leave them alone. Surprising no one, though, he still wants to know what's going on. Instead of giving us a montage of SpongeBob doing things, the episode cuts the crap, and then SpongeBob just begs Pearl just to let him in. So Pearl gives SpongeBob 10 seconds to prove that he is the funniest person on the planet in those exact words. So yeah, SpongeBob attempts to have the most fun in the world, and in general, it works.
There's our confetti and fun hands. Whoa! I'm allergic to newsprint. Oh, ow!
See this? This is actually the closest thing to a gross scene we actually get in this episode. Thank you, writers, for actually making a substance-filled episode and not just obliterating your production budget on these disgusting zits. Thankfully, they don't look that animated or detailed at all, and that's a good thing, because when they do get more detailed, it's really gross. Then SpongeBob falls into the root beer cellar.
I think he's hurt. He's not hurt.
Thinking nothing of it, the girls continue to watch their Slumber Party movie. And of course, they complain that the zombie looks totally fake, which it really does. But all of a sudden, in another ironic twist, SpongeBob pops out of the root beer cellar and is now a zombie. My personal theory on that is the root beer, of course they can't show actual beer on the show, it's a children's show, but the root beer is like the same thing in which it got SpongeBob drunk because he drank so much of it. So yeah, the house gets destroyed and Mr. Krabs comes home to this.
The pile of old newspapers.
So yeah, Pearl somehow runs the show here by making Mr. Krabs pay for her ruined slumber party with what looks like an even more expensive beach festival party. One thing to note though.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy.
Yeah, Pearl's friends should never call Mr. Krabs Daddy. Never. But all this could be solved with
A mug of ice-cold root beer.
No, SpongeBob, that doesn't cheer me up at all.
In general, the Slumber Party is just a great episode. The characters are in character, every joke hits bullseye, the pacing is great, and there's not really many negatives to bring it down. The only thing I have to ask is, Season 6 writers, if you can prove with this episode that you could still write good, why write crappy episodes? I do not get it. I assume it's mainly out of laziness, but otherwise, this does not falter an otherwise awesome episode. It gets a 9 out of 10 for me, and I'm really pleased to call this my favorite Season 6 episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. A true diamond in an utterly rough season. So anyways, that's my review of Slumber Party from SpongeBob SquarePants. If you want to see more SpongeBob reviews, comment down below an episode you'd like to see me review, and we'll see what I can do next. I'm gonna surprise you guys with another SpongeBob review sometime, and I'm gonna be reviewing a different episode, but I'm not sure which yet. So anyways, yeah, comment down below on LegendBTV if you enjoyed, subscribe down below, like, and comment down below. Like I said, thank you all for watching.